Hello everybody, this is WarStory video blog. I'm Alex and here is Alex.
I'm also Alex and I'm the CEO of International Military Antiques.
Hello Alex.
Hey, good to meet you.
Thank you for inviting us to this building, to your company. This is a great opportunity to see from inside how military antiques company works, because it's like a number of them in the world, and people usually think that all this military antique stuff just came from someone woodworks and from random garage where a guy just found something and oh, I don't need it, maybe I have to put it on eBay or forum or something like that. But now it's a big business and many people already involved in it.
I will say that I think most military antiques businesses do start in garages. So my dad, when he was 19, started the business. He's now 78 and he still works here every day with us. But it started in my garage when I was a kid. And from that, it grew a little bit each year. And it went from a couple of employees to more employees. And now we find ourselves in a 25,000 square foot warehouse with 16 full-time employees. We have a full gunsmith team of 3 gunsmiths, 2 full-time photographers, 3 full-time researchers. We have 2 people who work in the warehouse. We have 2 buyers and more part-time employees. We ship about 150 orders a day and we list about 150 one-of-a-kind items on our website every week. So we're really busy. The stages of our business are find the material, buy it, and then that process happens outside of here. When it lands here, we have to sort it. Then it goes into the rooms and I pull them for newsletters where it's photographed. Then it goes to the research team where it's historically researched and physically described. Then it goes to the web team who actually publishes it. Then it comes back to me and I send these newsletters on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays that go out to 300,000 people. Then hopefully these things sell, and this is the shipping team. They pull the items, lay them out with the orders on the table, pack them up. UPS and US Mail will come a little later today. They'll take about 100, 150 packages out of here, and then we do it all over again tomorrow. So this part in here this is our shipping area. Every morning people start arriving here as early as 5 a.m. and they start pulling what we call the orders from the night before. So everything on these 2 tables was ordered in the last 12 hours. And so these items were featured on one of our email newsletters. And you can see that it's a wide variety. We sell things that were issued to a military. So that is our core customers, people who are interested in military antiques. Our oldest pieces go back about 1,000 years. Many of the pieces are World War II or World War I, Revolutionary War, Civil War. So just up on the table, you can see some World War II dungarees, an NCO Japanese katana, a Japanese flag, Denison smock, British World War II, World War I bomb, German edged weapons from World War II, ordnance, a helicopter control stick, a 1860s pepperbox pistol. We do a lot of antique guns, a lot of militaria, and also World War II machine guns that are deactivated that we make whole again, but are completely legal because they don't work. This is still an $8,000 item. It's got a solid aluminum receiver, but this is original, that's original, this is original, this is an original magazine, the barrel's original. So as a collector's piece, you see how it's solid here? It's still valuable because so few of them exist. Yes. Now we will recondition this to make it look better and preserve it a little better. There is a American flamethrower that was converted to a chemical sprayer, but the tanks and the whole system are exactly the same as when it was a flamethrower. The wand is the chemical part, and we're actually going to try to find a flamethrower wand because it'll be worth a lot more. This is the gunsmithing area. So we have 3 full-time gunsmiths. Where are they all?
It's lunchtime.
Yeah. They're all at lunch. This is a collection we just got. It's mostly American World War I and World War II uniforms and field gear and posters and documents. But that is something that our research team is going to have to go through piece by piece, figure out what it is, give it an item code, a cost of goods, base. So we'll divide how many total items we get out of the deal, then set a retail value. So that's waiting to be processed and then it'll go on the website. Probably the heart of our business is antique firearms. I think it's the thing that my dad and I are drawn to the most. In 2003, my father went to the Kingdom of Nepal in the Himalayas and he made a deal with the Nepalese government to buy 55,000 antique guns. So to put that in perspective, it was 32 40-foot ocean containers full of antique guns. In that time, so 20 years has gone by, we have sold about 45,000. So we have about 10,000 plus or minus left, and these are the guns that are left. And they range from the 1770s to the 1890s. They range from flintlock to percussion to early cartridge guns, and then centerfire guns. So East India percussion muskets, 42 percussion muskets. We have Martini Henrys. These are made in Enfield in the early and mid 1870s. Not saying they were in South Africa, they were in India more likely, but the British Army were in both South Africa and India at the same time. So guys getting on the ship to go to South Africa got the same Enfield, same model, same factory, same year as the guys going to India. And these are the ones that came to India. So we have 3 full-time gunsmiths. So when people order one of these, they take these guns, they take them to the other room, they fully break them down, clean them, replace any worn parts, fix any cracks, anything, or in the wood, not cracks in the barrel or the receiver, and then we ship them out. And these aren't, you know, we have probably fewer than 1,000 martinis left, and as soon as we run out, as soon as those martinis go off the website, the prices for Martini Henry Marks II I think, will double in the next year. This room is the room of items that have yet to be listed on the website. So they've been inventoried. So everything that we sell has a unique item code, a cost of goods, and a retail price on a tag. So absolutely everything in this room has already been inventoried. We know what we paid for it, we know what it is, and we know what we're going to sell it for. And then 3 times a week, I go through this room and I make selections of what's going to be featured on the website that week. So we have 3 product drops a week: Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. Each email newsletter and SMS blast features 50 one-of-a-kind items. The email newsletter goes out to 300,000 customers. The SMS blast goes out to about 50,000. Most of what we sell, so of the 50 items, within about 12 hours, usually about 35 have sold. And after that, it usually takes a month or 2 for the rest to sell. Sometimes there'll be pieces that don't sell, and so we will discount them until they do sell, as long as we hit our cost of goods. There are some things that you don't want to take a loss on, so you keep them, and there are some things that are so cool that you just actually don't care if you sell them because they're so unique, they bring traffic to the website, and the more traffic we get, we sell other things. Through here we have stuff like US World War II A11 watches made by Bulova, Elgin, Waltham. They all work. These are what the pilots would have worn. Beer steins, armbands, headgear, gas masks, telescopes from the Victorian era, more antique guns, muskets, Sharps rifles, blunderbusses, a couple thousand edge weapons on these shelves, helmets, lots of flags, training rifles, uniforms down this way. We try to feature just a little bit of everything on each newsletter, so it's not just World War II or World War I or Civil War, Revolutionary War, that we get a mix of a little bit of everything each newsletter, because some collectors only collect one type of genre. There might be just a World War II American collector, or there might be just a helmet collector, there might be just an antique gun collector. So we try to feature, each newsletter has usually 4 to 6 antique guns, maybe some deactivated machine guns, some World War II pieces, some Civil War pieces, maybe older Revolutionary War pieces, but just a knife of a mix that no matter who you are, if you're into military antiques in any way, every newsletter we send should appeal to you in some way. Take like a photo or something. So this is our photography studio. We have 2 photography backdrops with full flash equipment, and then 2 edit bays here, and Chris and Marie are fantastic photographers. With 150 unique items a week, they wound up taking about an average of 2,500 images and fully edit them every single week. So they are incredibly busy.
How do you like taking pictures of historical items compared like with...
It's interesting. It's very interesting. We actually had a conversation about this the other day where he was asking us our favorite items to take pictures of, things of that sort. It's awesome seeing a bunch of different memorabilia. Besides seeing like the usual, like, long guns and things, that sort of uniforms, being able to actually see stuff like this up close and see the markings and, like, for example, try to get the details of the markings to show our customers.
And you would think too, oh, you're just taking photos. But if you look around, this particular photo studio has a flashlight here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights, controlled by these massive pieces of equipment, and the tripods and the backdrops and the camera and the Mac computers that have enough power to do all the programs. So I would say actually this whole room was probably a $30,000 investment just in photography.
Actually, most of guys just can't imagine how many work behind every item.
I would say every item we sell is touched by at least 6 or 7 people.
What is that?
This is a named officer's saber. It's a model 1897, it's English, and so we know all about the person it was actually issued to. We have a research file on him, and this is the cipher VR, which means Victoria Regina, which means it was made during the Queen Victoria reign of England. This is 1897, she died a few years later, and the other thing to look for is this is called the Queen's crown. It goes like this. On both sides it dips in. If it was a king's crown, it would be raised.
Maybe most important thing when CEO can just take item and like describe it from the beginning to the end.
This would be our Wednesday newsletter. So you can see this is what we're working on right now. It's a Tuesday, so I have to pull 50 items. I've pulled about 26. Civil War kepis, World War I German helmets. These just walked in the other day. This is an illuminated disc that the paratroopers in World War II, American paratroopers, wore to identify themselves from one another. And they're actually got a little bit of radioactivity, which makes them glow at night. They're not dangerous. Here is the case that they originally came in. Now, I've only ever seen a case. I've never owned one, but there were 18 of them in here. So we've split them up. We're going to sell them one at a time because most collectors just want one. They don't need 18 of them. But somebody might want the case, and so we put one in there as well.
And what is the most difficult to...
Funny enough, it would be the sabers because, with them being preserved so well and being very shiny, sometimes, you have a bunch of different lights as you see it on that station and this station, they kind of glare off of it.
And this was last Monday's newsletter. That'll be Saturday's newsletter. And it's all different kinds of varieties of different things. So think about, what it takes to take photographs of just a small metal versus what it does for a helmet versus larger rocket launchers versus uniforms. There's a lot of different techniques they have to use, plus different types of backdrops. They have to use mannequins, they use plexiglass tables because they don't want shadows, because really what we're selling, or the way in which we sell, is through the visual. Descriptions are important and historical context is important, but most collectors, they want to see it. And the more of an experience that you can provide, as if they're at a show or if they're in the moment holding the piece, looking at it closely, the better chance you have to sell it. So we really put a huge focus on the quality of our photography. So that's why we invest so heavily in it. And we also do large images. So they're not just these little images that you see, but when you blow it up, you really feel like you're holding it right in front of your face. This room is full of items that are listed on the website but haven't sold yet. At any given time, our website has about 2,500 pieces actively for sale. We leave out of stock pieces up on the website basically as historical reference, because some of these things you'll never see again. So sort of as the ability to keep history relevant and alive and researchable, we don't remove our products. You can't buy them, but once they're sold, we leave them up so you can see really good images of them. You can read about the historical context, how they were used, who made them, why they made them. We get lots of people from museums, schools, colleges who use our website just as a reference point. They never buy anything, which is fine. They just are doing research about World War II or any other conflict. So items in this room haven't sold yet. You can see we run the gamut from, a Viking axe that was excavated between the 9th and 11th century in Ukraine, all the way to pickle halbs from World War I, and visor caps, and ordnance, a deactivated mine, and lots of different antique guns. So over here we've got a Colt single action army, We've got a French pinfire pistol. So the way that the laws work in the United States, if a gun was made in 1898 or before, it's considered antique and it does not require a license. And that is the case for most countries around the world, so we're able to ship many of the antique guns worldwide. If it was a machine gun or a modern gun and we deactivate it, then we only ship it within the United States. Behind you there are edged weapons of all different sorts from all different nations. We have daggers and fighting knives and swords, deactivated machine guns. Right behind you is a Panzerfaust World War II German rocket launcher, an MP-44. Again, that MP-44 has a fake receiver, so it can't fire, but everything else is original. And that's appealing because, you know, for a collector, many collectors don't want to have a fully automatic machine gun. They actually want something to be original, but you can see this part is completely new made in solid steel. So they can have all the original parts. They know it's safe. They can't be fired. They don't need a license, so anybody can buy it within the United States. And it's still very collectible and will appreciate in value. And that's one of the things people don't really consider about military antiques, but many collectors do, is that not only is this their passion, but it's also an investment vehicle. So many of the things that my father's been doing it forever. The things he bought in the 1970s are worth anywhere from 10 to 200 times what he paid. Even things we bought a decade ago, we now can see they've appreciated in value. So it's unique to have a business where every year, most of what our inventory does is appreciate over time. We ship about 150 orders a day, and not every order is worth thousands of dollars and is a one-of-a-kind item. Some things are actually quite inexpensive. So we have these one-of-a-kind items, which are all authentic, guaranteed authenticity for life. We guarantee everything that we sell. If we say it's authentic and you buy it from us, and 30 years from now, there's some new test of aging and it's not right, we'll give you your money back. That's the only way I could combat people telling other people that we sell fake stuff, because we don't. And if we did, it's a mistake. We would never knowingly do that. But going back to our kind of three areas of things that we sell, our kind of three categories of product. We have these one-of-a-kind items. So for instance, a flintlock pistol, there might be others like it, but this is the only one that's exactly this. It could have not a flintlock pistol, but a later gun, its own serial number, or it just could be, that's the condition of it. But then we have things that we would call surplus. So for instance, a Vietnam shovel cover, you can see we've got a couple dozen. They're all about the same. We sell them all for the same price, and we take photographs for the website of one that you could expect to receive. Then we do things, reproductions that we get made overseas. So this is a D-Day cricket. So during World War II, especially around the Normandy landings, American paratroopers didn't want to shoot one another with friendly fire, so they wanted to develop a way in which to communicate, but without using voices. So they had a clicker, and they could identify one another. One click, two click to respond. One click, you don't respond, you're getting shot. So if you were to find one, say in the fields of Normandy today, it would probably be pretty beat. But if you did, it would be worth a couple $1,000s if it was good condition. We sell these for, I think, $6 or $7, and for reenactors or history buffs or school students or people just interested in World War II, it's kind of a cool thing to have. A lot of people actually train their dogs with them. This aisle is mostly reproductions, so we get reproductions made all over the world, mostly in Asia, and it's a lot of reproduction helmets or holsters or canvas rifle cases. Like, these are actually really nice, high quality rifle cases. They're fleece lined, so it's a copy of an American World War II case, and they have a nice heavy brass zipper and fleece. And, you know, it just is a nice thing for guys, collectors, if they're going to go to the range and shoot their M1 carbine, they can stick it in here. We make reproductions of a lot of cloth and leather and things that don't stand the test of time, or things that are abhorrently expensive to the normal person, but they might just want an example of it. So the gunsmiths will do all the antique gun restoration, then they do the specialty guns. So if we have, say we get a Sharps rifle from the Civil War, they're gonna go through the whole thing, make sure it's clean, make sure nothing's broken on it, make sure it's as well preserved as possible, and then we put it in its best light, and then we sell it. And then they also do deactivated machine guns. So we'll buy part sets, we send samples to ATF, which in the United States is the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. They approve, so if we want to make a MG34 machine gun, we have an approval for the way in which we construct the receiver, so it can't ever be fired again, and that is considered a non-gun. So it's not considered a machine gun or a firearm in any way, and then we can sell it. Now, we don't export any of the machine guns, but we do sell them in the United States. The antique guns we can export.
That's interesting. And always interesting to know like this low part of the business. I mean, because it's like pretty different in every state and every,
yes, yeah. Well, I mean, the gun laws in America are better than, more free, I shouldn't even say, than anywhere in Europe or overseas for the most part. But depending on what state you are in the US, the gun laws change pretty radically. So the state we're in, we actually don't sell antiques guns to. Yeah. We are what you call a FFL, which means a federal firearm license holder, and a New Jersey state retail firearms and wholesale firearms dealer, but we don't transact in firearms. We just keep the licenses to make sure we're always compliant, but we don't actually sell anything that would be considered a firearm.
Okay.
So some of the machine gun part sets, you can see all these have been cut. They're flame cut, so, well, that's missing it completely, but you can see that it's been cut here, it's been cut up there. See the torch? So that's an MG42. These are dummy guns. So this is a full replacement receiver. You can see this is solid. So there's no receiver here anymore. It's just a complete fake receiver. More antique guns. So Steve's working on a Suomi dummy gun with our milling machine. So that receiver is about 40% solid steel at this point. We've inserted a solid steel rod right in the, or a solid steel cylinder between two severed halves of a receiver. So you really couldn't make anything function in this gun without completely replacing the receiver. So if you can see, what we've done from here to here is completely replace solid steel. So this was some receiver and this was some receiver, but this whole section solid steel, and now he's boring out the bottom of it so he can put the sight on it. It's very far from being a machine gun at this point.
Oh yeah.
But when he's done with it, it'll look really good. 80% of it will be the original parts. These are two of the guns they finished this morning, both trapdoor Springfield rifles, late American 19th century. Trapdoor Springfield rifle, one of the first breech loading rifles of the US Army. That's why it's called trapdoor. It opens like a trap. Put the cartridge in, press the door back down, and then fire. And it actually has a little firing pin that'll hit the primer in the back of the cartridge. Spanish-American War, these were used. Indian Wars, they were used. So people think of General Custer. And then after this, they went to the Krag and then to the 1903 Springfield. This is the Martini Henry Mark II. So the guns I showed you before with the toy soldiers from the Zulu War, and then the pile of them, this is what they look like when they're fully restored. So over here you can see Enfield 1878. And this is a falling block or a drop block receiver. So you open it up that way, insert the cartridge, pull it up, now it's in the cock position. So if I were to fire this, the firing pin would fly forward, and this is the indicator. Is it cocked or is it not? I don't want to dry fire it, so I just do that.
Again, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for this tour, and thank you for showing our audience all this stuff from the beginning to the end, like from inside, right? This is like very valuable because nobody wants to show their like kitchen, but here we can, here we can see there is no secret. We saw people behind it, so that's cool. And actually, we have great opportunity. If you're interested in something particular here, we can film videos about like some items here in this warehouse in this company. Just ask us under the video in comments, and don't forget to click subscribe and like button below the video, and links also I'll put under this video for this company. So thank you very much.
You're welcome, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
We had equipment in Saving Private Ryan. Oh, you know, I never showed you this one. Banner Brothers. Most of the stuff in here is not for sale. Valkyrie, if that's true, then that's enough to make this deal work. Oh, Fury, the most common field gun. Dunkirk, I don't think he's found one in about 25 years. John Wick 3.
And this middle of 19th century, right?
No, 1640. 1640. 400 years ago.
Wow.